Are you ready to lead your tribe into the unknown? Resources are scarce, rivals are closing in, and only the most cunning will carve their story into the land. Welcome to Dewan, the brand new strategy game from Space Cowboys. Created by award-winning designers Johan Levitt, the author of Turing Machine, and Johannes Gupi, the author of Faraway, Dewan is a fast-paced Euro-style game of territory control. With a modular board, 4 game-playing variants, and breathtaking artwork, every game is a unique battle for dominance. And here's your chance. Dewan will be available in exclusive pre-release at Essen 2025, a full 3 months before the worldwide launch in January 2026. Be among the very first to discover it, play it, and share your experience with the community. Dewan, the story begins now. Hello, and welcome to episode 80 of the Board Game Geek podcast, where we geek out about board games, the mechanisms behind them, and the people who create them. I'm your host, Amanda Panda. I'm excited to be here today with the amazing John D. Clair.
Hi all. We're up in my office right now.
On location.
Yeah,
where
on location.
All the magic happens.
And this is one of the prototype shelves of. This is largely old stuff that am not actively working on, but there's a little mix in there. So Anyway, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming over.
I'm very lucky to live close enough to you that I can come over to his house when he has his industry days or play test. And,
Southern California is a great spot if you're into the tabletop industry.
Yeah.
Or just into board games in general. But
so many designers.
Influencers, designers.
A couple publishers.
Yeah. The only board game dedicated artist I know of that's here is Quan Chai.
Yeah,
he lives in Pasadena. True. He's nearby.
Yeah.
But it's a good mix of folks.
Yeah. I mean, the West Coast is the West Coast because Seattle.
There's also,
Portland.
and we also overlap a bunch with digital companies. There's a lot of video game companies in LA. You've got EA Sport, EA, Blizzard, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the opposite lower, closer to.
The op is down San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
Which is, either 6 hours away or 2 hours away, depending on what time you're driving.
Yeah, and I think there's a sleeve company that works.
I didn't know
here.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I gotta look them up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing I do in game design is use card sleeves. I didn't know that.
You're known for your card crafting mechanism, right?
Yes, among hopefully a few other things, including Space Base. But yeah, but yes, card crafting was the first thing I did that was successful in the hobby market.
And I think
I haven't stopped.
I know you haven't. And you were the first to do it, though, right?
I like to claim that I'm the first. It depends on how you define card crafting. So, as far as I know, under my definition, Mystic Vale was the first card crafting game. But it depends on how you define it. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, Mystic Vale didn't do it first. Gloom did it, right?" And I wouldn't take anything from Gloom. Gloom's a solid game, very clever game. But it doesn't fit what I would consider card crafting.
Okay.
Since, for example, in Gloom, the cards you play on the table, you just overlay them on the table.
Yeah.
So it no longer needs to function in all the ways a card can function.
Oh, that's true.
Right? It's more or less the same as putting token modifiers on a card.
Yeah.
But the art is cool. The art overlays and it does it in a cool way, but not in a way you couldn't then shuffle that card into a deck and it would keep all the changes, right?
Yeah.
So my definition of card crafting is you change the card as part of course of the game or as part of the meta of the game. So in between games, like in a Legacy, you would change it or something. And then whatever change you made to it, it retains all the properties of being a card. It can be shuffled, it can be discarded, it can be placed face down, face up, held in the hand, right? To my knowledge, with maybe a couple caveats, Mystic Vale was the first one to do it. And the caveats are, I think it did it in a way that was transferable across a lot of games. I think there was a game that came out, I don't remember the name of it, but it came out and had stickers.
Oh, yeah.
This was in the early aughts. I think it was a CCG where you could put stickers on your cards.
Oh.
And under my definition, that's card crafting, right? It's changing the card in a way that then keeps it. But it's not resettable. So what I do think Mystic Vale did was it was the first game that used card sleeves.
Yes.
In a
to change
in an essential aspect of the game.
Okay.
Right? Like card sleeves existed for a long time. I didn't invent card sleeves. I didn't invent transparent cards. I think Mystic Vale was just the first game that put them together in a way that like was meaningful for the gameplay. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think Canvas, you do sleeve clear cards, but that's the end of it. You don't touch it anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
So Canvas wouldn't. Canvas fits the definition in that it does provide sleeves, and you do put them on the sleeve, so it does sort of retain all the properties. But then it's never actually in the game used as that. Right. So like the sleeves are sort of optional, but they make it work better.
Yeah.
And again, Canvas is great.
Yeah.
Canvas is a great use of transparent cards. That game is very well sleek design. Yeah, love it. Yeah. What it did actually, and we can talk about this when we talk about Mystic Lands. Canvas so one of the things that's funky about making games with transparent cards is how do you do the art well?
Yeah.
Right? Because you think about it, where you're just like, oh, just layer it, right? And you can have this. There's a foreground background problem when you have it where you don't, like, if let's say you have three, like original Mystic Vale, right? You have three advancements you can add, and there's a single background card. If the art on those cards overlap, right? Anything that's a background that gets sleeved in front of a foreground, all of a sudden the art makes no sense and looks terrible.
Yeah.
So Canvas very cleverly, as its art, it's like, this is literally a game about abstract weirdo art. Like that's literally what we're doing. So like it worked perfectly thematically in the context of the game, and then also like made cool art, right?
Yeah. So what was the inspiration to create this system for Mystic Vale?
Yeah, where did the idea of card crafting come from? So at this point in my game design career, I was full-time in a data job doing marketing mix modeling. I had sold a little mass markety type of game called Rumble Pie, and I had licensed Downfall, but it hadn't come out yet, to TMG. This doesn't work usually from a creative perspective, but I literally was like, I want to come up with something that I've never seen before, because I feel like in order to get a hit, a great place to start is with something that's really fresh and new. Yeah. And the brainstorming process I went through that landed me on the idea of card crafting was, I started by going through game components. Okay. And being like, okay, this component, what is a way I've never seen it used before, right? Dice, the box, like a cube tower, cards. Cards have been done in tons of different ways, right? And when in that process, when I landed on card sleeves, I was like, okay, what's a way you could use card sleeves I've never seen before? And that's like, well, I've never actually seen card sleeves used before in any way that is like something beyond just protecting your cards. So immediately my brain was like, wait, that might be it. That might be the idea. That could be really cool. And I didn't actually go straight to card crafting. The first idea I had and the first prototypes I made were for a game where players would have their own sleeves, and with like an insignia on them, and we would all be communally deck building the same deck, and when you buy cards, you put them into one of your personal sleeves and add it to that central deck. So you're not so much changing the card; you're merely marking it, you're identifying it as your card, and then you shuffle it into that central deck. The prototype I made for that was coming along. There was clearly something good there, but in that process, I realized it was like, well, you could actually put multiple cards into the same sleeve, and if you build the cards with transparencies or with cutouts, all of a sudden you can have a card that is variable and can change either as course of the game or before the game. And I was like, oh wait, that's really cool. Let me pursue that idea. And it's funny because recently I just played a game called, I think it's called For the Crown or For the King. Yes. Which I was like, wait a second. Yeah. This is just like that idea that I worked on and then didn't end up pursuing, but that was a great idea. So I just played that one, which is like a group deck building. Yes. It's not so much card crafting, but you use card sleeves to identify which cards are yours. I was like, wait, this is great. Yeah. Yeah.
But also you did that in Ruins from All Play, where
yes, I used the ownership in Ruins. Yes. in in a not core element of the game, but an important element of the game. So the game isn't about claiming ownership of cards like it is in For the Crown, but there's an important moment in the game where you can be like, well, we made this amazing card that normally goes into this communal deck that everyone just shares.
Yeah.
But this card is so good that I think I'm going to keep it, right? This is not my card for this. And you can do that twice per game, right? So that idea of ownership, and I did it in Edge of Darkness. So Edge of Darkness is a shared deck building game with card crafting, with card ownership. So it's a less distilled version of the idea of like owning cards in a shared deck than For the Crown was, or my original idea was. But yes, I love that idea of a shared deck where we own different parts, and card crafting, or at least using card sleeves, gets you there in a really physically elegant, simple way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're still playing around with components because Roland Heights was the Roland of the meeples, you know?
Oh yeah, so I haven't come off of the idea of using components as inspiration. I use the term kinetic design, which I like to claim as my term that I came up with for this definition. I'd seen it before in interior design called kinetic design, but I hadn't heard it in the context of game design. So I tried to come up with a term, and my definition of the term kinetic design is using the physicality of the product to find inspiration or solutions. So when I have a problem with a game design, I'm like, how do I make I want these things to happen. Like I want this piece of bureaucracy that's not fun to do to happen quickly. I want it to happen in this way, but I don't want to have to make players spend a bunch of time doing it or whatever, right? Like this is a problem and it's like annoying. Is there like a physical component way to solve that? And then also just like trying to find inspiration. So like, you just play tested Seventh Siders, which is a prototype I'm working on, where I was like, what would a die look like if it just had like how would you make a 7-sided die in a way that is like cool and like there's a little hook to it?
Yeah.
So I'm working on a game called Seven Siders where literally like it's a D6 with just a corner cut off.
Yes.
So every now and then it lands like cocked on the corner. So the physicality components is still an area I go to for inspiration, cool ideas. Yeah.
And that's really cool. So if you're a designer and you're like a little bit stuck, maybe you try something like that and play with your components.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, stuck on it, like solving an idea or being like, if you have a good idea for a game, but it's like not a full hook. It's like that's a cool idea, but it doesn't fully differentiate itself. Then you're like, how can that mesh with a really interesting component design? And not just like a gimmicky component, but like a component that matters for the gameplay, then that can become a hook that's like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before. That looks fun. If you can like toyify some part of your game in a way that matters for the gameplay, but is also like feels cool and different. Yeah, I always like that stuff.
There you go. Tips from John. By the way, you have like, I remember there was one con and then you brought all your prototypes. And I was like, how many prototypes do you have? And you're like, I'm working on 20 of them at the same time.
That was Dice Tower West, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was because a lot of LA has Strategicon, which is a small con that happens 3 times a year. And LFG Con, which is the first time it happened, was this year, and hopefully the good folks running that make it into a bigger thing. But LA does not have a big convention, or it certainly hasn't for a long time. Right. But when Dice Tower West started in Vegas, I was like, okay, that's like almost local. So I was like, I'm going to drive out there, and I was like, and I was thinking about like, normally when I fly to a convention, I'm like, what 4 prototypes can I fit into my bag?
Okay.
Like 3 or whatever. It depends on if I bring the big ones or the little ones, right? But I was driving to Dice Tower West, and I was like, I'm just going to bring them all. Yeah, I think I had like 12 prototypes with me. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, how do you keep them all straight in your head?
I try to focus on one at a time. Okay.
You just showed me like 3 different prototype games you're working on.
So I'm working on a bunch at the same time, which obviously doesn't mean literally at the same moment.
Right.
It means over the course of a 2-month period, I may work on 8 different games.
Okay.
Right? But in a given like 4-day period, I'm going to focus on a particular game.
Okay.
Generally.
Okay, that makes sense.
And like, I'll be doing maybe some emails that communicating with a developer about some other game, but like I won't be like cranking on a prototype on like 4 different games at once or whatever. I'm going to like focus on content creation for a single game for like a week, a 2-week period, right? So like I've been cranking for the last 3 weeks on unstoppable content, right? And now that content's in a good place, and I'm now moving on. I mean, this week I'm doing a lot of Mystic Lands, talking to people about Mystic Lands because Kickstarter's coming up. But from a design perspective, I'm going to be probably working on like Brave or another game, but it's going to be mainly focused on something like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So now that you're completely established, people know your name.
I mean, let's not get beyond ourselves. I can still walk down the street and no one knows.
You're incognito. Literally, he's usually in a Dodgers or a baseball cap.
True, yeah.
So
I'm in home mode. I'm in like home mode here.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing my official work hat, the Dodgers, which I should be because the Dodgers are in the World Series right now. So yeah. Let's go.
And I always like say when he doesn't have his hat on in a convention,
he's incognito.
Yeah, because you can't find him. So speaking of Mystic Lands, it is a standalone sequel to Mystic Vale.
Yes.
Your first card crafting game.
It's a new game.
It's a new game, but not completely new. It has a lot of.
So it's a new game. It is not compatible with Mystic Vale. It's not an expansion. We're not calling it a second edition. Okay. It is its own game, but it is very much an evolution of Mystic Vale.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you've played Mystic Vale, playing Mystic Lands, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is very similar to Mystic Vale.
Yeah.
But it's different enough that ascribing a second edition to it really kind of doesn't apply.
Yeah.
There's some substantial changes to almost every element of the game. Almost everything about the game has changed in some way, some big, some small. Yeah. So calling it a second edition probably isn't appropriate. So we decided to keep it within the Mystic brand, if you will, but not call it a second edition.
Right. And it is coming to Kickstarter.
In this November, I don't have the exact date. I think the 10th, around there somewhere.
Yeah. I am a playtester, and we just played a semi close to finished copy of it, right?
Yes, I mean it has a portion of the final art. A portion of it is we don't have the final art, so we've copy and pasted images on cards. But yes, we have a from a play standpoint. Pretty much all the stuff is balanced and played at this point, and the art is rolling in. We can talk about the art challenges for making a game like this, because we wanted to level up the art. This was a big ask from John Zinser, the owner of AEG, that he was like, this one, we have to level up the art.
And it's gorgeous.
Way up for this one. Yeah. And we don't want to do the Edge of Darkness or the old Mystic Vale art style where it's just different art sort of in 3 spots. We do want to do the overlapping art in a way that looks cool, which again, the foreground background problem was a real problem that we had to solve. We could talk about the way we did it. But because of that, a lot of the initial art that we got were like, this isn't quite doing it, because you would get a foreground piece and you're like, that piece on its own is fine, but like this is pairing with a card that has text here, right? Like this cannot fit. This piece of art does not work with this card, even though it was designed to be for that card, because we need to put text there, or this piece of art was just like the color scheme of it works with this background, but not with this background, right? So there's been a lot of trying to get that right, and I think we've gotten in the last couple months, we've sort of found the solution and started going through it, which means we've got I want to say 60% of the art done still, as opposed to where we'd hope to be at this point, 100%. But because of that process, the art is lagging a little bit where we want it to be, even if the game design from a balancing, playtesting, development standpoint is pretty crisp at this point.
Yeah, so I got to see some of the art. It is gorgeous. As a content creator, they gave us these like
cool,
framed
like
round, wall tiles, which you still have to sign for me.
Sure, yeah.
So, like, what were the challenges besides? I know John Z was saying how like some of the artists paired the foreground with the background, but then the foreground doesn't work with other backgrounds.
Right. I think when the art directing made the mistake of asking for an artist, like, hey, artist, can you please design us? This is the framing that we want, and within this framing, can you make a foreground and a background? And they would make a foreground and a background that are very cohesive, right? But not transferable to other, like, so let's zoom out a second and talk about the way we did it with the cards, because it's an interesting and hard problem to solve. So when I first started working on Mystic Lands, I wanted to the first order of business for me was, there was a number of things from Mystic Vale that I was like, given the chance, because I'm getting that chance to like change things, improve things, alter things, what would I do? So one of them was the card crafting as a gameplay experience in Mystic Lands. There was a lot of subtle, important ways to sleeve cards that made more sense. But until you added expansions to the game, the like really like, oh, that's a cool combo didn't pop as much. In the base game, there was like some very obvious combos, and then some subtle strategic things that if you played a lot, you're like, oh, this is better with that, right? I wanted those cool combos right away, and I wanted to level them up. I wanted like the awesomest combo you can make in Mystic Vale is only 70% as good as the awesomest combo you can make in Mystic Lands, right?
Oh, right.
I didn't. At the same time, I don't want, from a balancing standpoint, you don't want those amazing combos to hit all the time. You want that like a once in every 5 games you make the ridiculous combo, right? So you're always reaching for it. I like that. Yeah. So I want it to level that up. So the one thing I did was, instead of 3 advancements per card, there's now 4 advancements per card.
Right.
So every card can have up to 4 advancements sleeved in it to create a combo. And the original prototype, I was like, I don't know how to solve this art problem. I have no idea how to solve it. So we're just going to go with Dead Reckoning style, where the advancements essentially, in Dead Reckoning, the advancements don't have art. You just have your crew art, right? And I was like, well, we'll give art to the advancements, but we'll put all our art in the same spot. It'll just be a typical sort of Magic the Gathering square piece of art. When you buy a new advancement, it goes on top. Whatever the latest one is, the art you see, but the abilities all stack.
Right.
And from there, I playtested the game. But when we got down the line, John Ginger was like, no, I want to solve this problem. And we had a bunch of meetings on it. We actually had we commissioned a few artists to try to come up with something, and we were getting ideas that were like, it's only so far along the way to cool, and it's not necessarily cooler than just a really nice piece of art, right? So like we have to, the original idea of just like square art and they just overlay each other. In that scenario, we can make really nice pieces of art. We don't have to do weird things to make them fit. It can just nice pieces of art. And then we were getting back these ideas that are like, yeah, they kind of mesh, but it doesn't actually look that good in the end. It just looks mediocre. So finally, I was like, all right, give me a week or two. I am going to devote my brain to this problem. And the problem forever was foreground, background, right? How do you make it so that, like, if I have a foreground, a midground, and a background, I'm not forcing the players to stuff that midground card right in between 2 others.
Yeah.
So that the art makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I want people to get a card, pop it in the sleeve, and not have to sweat being like, if I want my art to look sensical at all, so that, like, the eagle flying in the sky isn't in front of the foreground tree. Yeah. Right? That you don't force them to have to do this really annoying, like, sleeve in the right spot. So finally the solution was to actually the card does not create a single image, right? Because how do you get 4 pieces of art to make sense in one image without worrying about foreground, background? Like, you have to either have them in quadrants, right? So I was like, okay, wait a second. It's the midground sleeving that's the problem. The background is it's easy to pop a card at the back. It's easy to pop a card at the front, and we've even cut a corner out of the foreground cards to make it extra easy to just pop the backgrounds right in the back. Foreground, background isn't so much the problem. It's the midground that's the huge problem. So the 4 things, if I break them, like there was the quadrant idea, but what if we do foreground, background for 2 instead? So we have 2 sets of images that have very cool sort of interlacing, sort of Celtic things around them, right? And each of them has their own foreground and background on a single card. So a single card will have 2 sets of foreground background images. And that ended up being the solution that works. So any given card can have up to 2 foregrounds and up to 2 backgrounds. And the order of the backgrounds doesn't matter and the order of the foregrounds doesn't matter. So whenever you buy a foreground card, you just pop it at the front. Whenever you buy a background card, you pop it at the back. And that was the solution to making that problem. And then from there, the problem was, of course, well, okay, great. Now, how do we make sure that the art that we're getting, you don't get like lighting coming from this direction on one, and then lighting coming from this direction on the other.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to have a cohesive art that makes sense. Yeah. We went with like a stained glass look to the art that we thought, from a lighting standpoint, is going to be really sort of visceral and cool. And not create like weird shadow. Like it has to be abstract enough that if you have a nighttime background with a daytime foreground, it'll clash if it's like photorealistic. Yeah. Right. But if you do it in a more abstracted way, so then it's like, oh, that's just a cool piece of art. So we took that approach. We took a sort of stained glass approach to give it that more abstract look to it. Interesting problem to solve. It was a funny meeting we had when I landed on that solution and I sort of laid it out in Adobe Illustrator on my computer, and I was like, I think I did it. I think this is the solution. This looks really cool. And then we had the meeting with the AEG guys, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's it. We did it. We got there. Yeah. Because up till that point, I was like, guys, it's not going to work. We can't, like the mid-ground, it's the problem. It's just we can't do it. We have to do the overlaid art. And John Zinder was like, no, I'm sure we can come up with a better idea. And
he believed in you.
We got there.
You did it, yeah. And there is a lot of artists. It's not just like 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, so we worked with a couple studios who have a bunch of artists within the studio doing it. So it's going to be a whole set of artists. Yeah.
That's cool. So that was one of the differences between Mystic Vale and Mystic Lands, is that there's going to be 4 layers.
Correct.
There's new art that's going to look different. Is there any special abilities? Like what other changes?
Yeah, so I can go into if people are familiar with Mystic Vale, I can go into some of the things that are different. And I'll try to talk about it from a design perspective, like why would I make these changes? Making changes to a design just for the sake of changes isn't really what you want. To have good ideas to make changes that either make the game different in a way that people appreciate or make it better, right? So the biggest change to the game is that the Vale cards have been taken out and completely replaced by a Vale board. So in Mystic Vale, there's 2 types of cards you could buy. The advancements, which is what we talked about, that's card crafting. And then there were these other cards called Vale cards. And you would spend these spirit icons. It would sort of be like a set collection of these spirit icons to match the cost. And then you'd get this card, and the card would just sit on the table next to you and provide endgame points or abilities, or both. That always was a bit of almost a missed opportunity thematically. It's like, we're buying these cards and they sit on the table, they have these beautiful pieces of art, and it doesn't really feel like we're doing anything. And Mystic Vale was always a bit of a pasted on theme game. And that's not to say that Mystic Lands isn't also it's game first, theme second, right? Game and art first, and then like theme second, right? But I was like, maybe those Vales is an opportunity where it can feel like we're doing something as opposed to just like counting icons and paying costs, right? So the new Vale board has a single resource, not these cost matching things, and it's a pathing network. So the whole board, it looks like sort of the airplane view of a landscape with this pathing network, and the base game of Mystic Lands will actually have 4 boards, or I should say 2 double-sided boards. So 4 different scenarios you can play. The base board is just very straightforward. There's sets of Vale cards that go out onto this board, and in the base board you just fill in all the spots with it. In the other boards, there's like a theme to the board, and you don't necessarily fill in all the spots. Some of them are printed on the board, and then some of them like put a random board here. So even that same board will be different from game to game, at least in like 50% of it, right?
Okay.
And you spend spirits and you sort of travel around this network on this board. And the idea is this board represents the world, or a part of the world, and this part of the world is not infused with magic yet. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful terrain. It's land, but there's no magic there. And we are the druids that are traveling around this world and infusing it with magic. So there's all this potential on the board, and we're coming by and dropping our magic, or enchanting the land with magic, right? The idea of traveling gives the game a bit more of and you can see the flow of the board coming out. I don't mean to make it sound like now it's a super thematic game, right? It's still a mechanics first game. But that was the reason for that change, was like, can we simplify the sort of gamery, mathery, like icon matching thing, simplify it, and then also make it more a little bit more thematically vibrant. And then finally introduce a bit of player interaction. So Mystic Vale was also a virtually completely solo multiplayer solitaire game, which I was fine with. I enjoy many multiplayer solitaire games. I enjoy many highly competitive interactive games. They both have their place. But Mystic Vale was, aside from like, oh, you bought the card in the market that I want it, there was virtually no interaction. So the Vale board is a place where if you get to a spot first, you get the first option. And if someone's already gone that way, you can choose to try to outrun them on a particular route to get to the good thing, or you can choose a different path or whatever. So there's a little bit of like, okay, my opponents are doing a thing, so it's a very Euro-y interaction. It's not like I'm going to do this to stop you. So that's the biggest change. Sorry for the long ramble on that. The deck that we've also have 4 advancements per deck. A big part of the card crafting. So the other part that I mentioned that I want it to level up the card crafting. I want it like if the best combo you can make in Mystic Vale was here, I want the best combo you can make in Mystic Lands to be here, right? So there's 4 advances, but there's also every advance in the game has an aspect, and potentially multiple. Most of them are a single aspect, but some of them have multiple aspects. And this is, from Mystic Vale, this is sort of a carryover from the Guardian icons a bit, but those were very basic. And this, it's more like factions in a game like Ascension, right? Where you got the 4 different types of cards, but it's card crafting, right? So the factions don't mean, if I get a certain faction type, it doesn't mean anything until something says it means something. But because I can layer cards onto the same card, I can make it one card like an uber particular faction card, and then pop on a thing that's like, for every of this faction aspect on this card, I can do it. You can have other cards that are like, for every different faction on this card, or different aspect on this card, you can do it. So that is a big part of the reason why the combo is, and how you're like, if I have this advancement, I really want to find this other type of advancement to put with it, scaled up a lot. So in Mystic Vale, a lot of the time you're like, I buy this advancement and it's cool, and I don't really care what card I put it on, it's just now in my deck. Right? And in this one, almost every card you get, you're like, oh, okay, should this go on a new card? Should I stack it? Right? We changed one thing where advancements you buy can stay off to the side, and you don't have to sleeve them right away. So that was a big thing I wish we had done differently in Mystic Vale, which was, I buy this awesome advancement that combos with this really cool card I have, but this really cool card currently is in the middle of my deck. And I have to sleeve it right now on something in my field, and I don't get to make the cool combo that those would make. So now any advancement you buy, you just hold on to until you choose to sleeve it. So if you're aware of that combo, you can plan for it. The final there's other changes, but I think we've rambled on it enough. The final really important thing is, and this is a design lesson I've learned with Push Your Luck engine builders. I've made a few of them. Mystic Vale, I made Cubitos, I made Rolling Heights. And they've progressively gotten closer to, I think, what is a general player preference. In engine building Push Your Luck games, is to make the punishment for busting actually really minimal. Right? So in Mystic Lands, it's very punished. You bust, you lose your turn, right? In Cubitos, you bust, you lose your turn, but you get a cool consolation. You get a pretty decent consolation prize, right? Yeah. That goes along. In Rolling Heights, you bust, you lose half your turn, right? So that was like, okay, I'd played Quacks of Quedlinburg, right? And I'm like, okay, Quacks did that in a really smart way, where early in the game you lose the victory points, late in the game you lose the money, right? So learning from seeing other people do it well, and learning from the feedback I'd gotten on games I'd done like that. Mystic Lands approaches it from a pushing matters, busting matters, but it's not that punishing, right? So in Mystic, we've got victory points, spirits for the Veil board, and mana to buy advances. And on any turn which you don't wither or bust, you get everything, right? But on a turn in which you wither, you pushed and you busted, you pick one of the three, and you get that one and not the others, right? But your starting deck makes almost only mana. It makes a little bit of victory points and a little bit of spirits, right? So most turns early when you bust, you're like, well, that's not so bad. I miss out on one victory point, and I still get my 4 mana, right? And only later in the game when you're like, well, I'm getting 4 mana, I'm getting 7 mana, 5 spirits, and 10 victory points. I'm like, I don't want to bust right now. So that was a good learning that I think makes that aspect of the game both still there in a meaningful way, but has less feel bad moments for players, and less punishing of having bad luck. Yeah.
And I don't know, I really enjoy it. I really like Mystic Vale, so I have to say that Mystic Land was like an instant back for me. Yeah, sure. Now I have to ask, all of your games from AG have expansions to them. Do you work on your expansion at the same time, or does it always come after?
It depends. I would say most of the time the expansion is part of is at least partially or fully designed before the base game comes out. I want to say that's true. It's certainly true with Mystic Lands. We're in the launch of the Kickstarter, we're going to have an expansion as part of it. So the artwork we're getting slowly in is inclusive of the expansion. It's not always true though. But Dead Reckoning as example, we had the first saga already going when we were working on when we were closing out designing the base game and stuff like that. So usually we have expansions in mind. We think about what's expandable. We mix that in early. I over-design the content for my games. Okay. Like I put more content in my prototype as I'm working on it than I think should be in the base game. Oh. And then that gives me the opportunity to be like, what of this content makes the most sense for this amount in the base game? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's very much what we do with Mystic Lands. I designed 30% more cards than I thought the base game needed or should have. And then I can basically say, well, what of that, what is the 30% that belongs as an expansion? Right? Okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So, if Mystic Lands does well, we can definitely see an expansion in the horizon. There's going to be one as part of the launch. Right. And then even more. Obviously, if sales warrant, it's an easy game to expand. Yeah.
Buckle up, racers. Joyride Full Throttle is coming to GameFound. This high-octane, standalone racing game is fully compatible with all previous Joyride titles and brings 6 brand new cars, including a hot dog car with unique abilities, expanded team modes, and over 20 tracks across 2 stunning new maps, from the sun-soaked beachfront boardwalk to the neon-drenched abandoned mall. With gorgeous new ink-wash miniatures for every car, old and new, this is an ultimate ride for Joyride fans. And with awards from Shut Up and Sit Down, Tabletop Gaming Magazine, and the Dice Tower, the Joyride series reputation speaks for itself. Follow the campaign now and be the first off the line when it launches, October 28th. Catch waves, burn rubber, go full throttle.
That's awesome. So since we were talking about card crafting and stuff, so I decided let's talk about our 5 favorite deck building games. Sure. This
was for me. It was the 5 that came up to the top of my mind. Okay. Without spending a lot of time. I did not scroll through Board Game Geek to remember all the ones that I've played.
Yeah.
So it's possible you might even mention one where I'm like, oh, that belongs in my top 5. So my top 5, it's the top 5 that I thought would be interesting to talk about, relevant to interesting game design conversations, and that I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not including anything I've made, of course.
Oh, okay. Well,
That would be unfair.
I mean, because my top 5, it's basically like you said, the top 5 off my brain. I love deck building as a mechanism, so I probably played a lot more than this.
And are we fudging it to say bag building counts?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
One.
We get one bag builder. We get one bag builder. Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'll try to pick one that I'm going to guess is not on your list.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll go with the weirdest one on my list. So it's a digital game called Hexarchy.
Yes, never heard of it.
So it's a 4X civilization deck builder.
What?
So imagine Sid Meier's Civ condensed into a deck building Civ game.
Oh, interesting.
So you get a hand of cards and you play your cards, and like if you play like an explorer card, the explorer causes you to spawn an explorer on the board, right? And then every turn you can move that guy around. What it does deck building wise that I really like is the way the technologies work in the game. And it reminded me of an idea that I still want to work on, which is why particularly I want to mention it. Because I love this idea and I want to pursue it at some point. The way the techs work in the game, so a tech, you have to play it, you have to pay some resources for it, and then that card eliminates itself from your deck. Oh. But if you research, say, writing, right, it will spawn 3 new cards that you can then choose one to add to your deck. Actually, the way it works is it spawns 3 new cards. You choose one to add to your current hand, and the other 2 go to your discard pile. Oh. So but you don't have to research that tech. Yeah. So like, if you're like, I want to go heavy into something, you can go down that path. But if you research all the techs, now you bloat your deck with a bunch of stuff, right?
Right.
So I love how the techs cause the deck building. So it's like, it's all self-contained deck building within that deck. I really like that. And I've had an idea for a Civ game that I wanted to make for a while where like it would the cards, it would be card crafting because I love cards with sleeves, but it's not card crafting, it's card uncrafting. So like a card would be in a sleeve and it's got 4 cards in it, but only the top card matters. Okay. Right? Yeah. But when you jump to the next age, or when you play it, like if it was a tech card, you would play it and it would become the next card then down the line. Right? But and your deck has, maybe you go through age 1 through 5, and your deck as you play the game goes through age 1 through 5, but there's no other cards coming into the deck. The deck itself is just upgrading, progressing through the levels.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
There's something to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know who is the publisher of that game?
It's a studio. They are Main Tank Software.
And the name again?
Hexarchy.
Hexarchy.
Yes.
Okay.
Like anarchy, but hex at the front.
And there's a lot of hexes in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hex board.
Okay. I was about to say, I was like, are you moving hexes?
Yeah. Okay. Again, like imagine a Civ Meier's Civilization hex board.
Okay, got it.
Right? Yeah. But all of your actions are driven by cards in your deck that works like a deck builder.
Okay, interesting.
So that was my weird one. That's the first. The rest are all board games.
That's a board game too, but yeah, probably one
that is clearly a digital game inspired by. It's a digital game inspired by tabletop games.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, you get 2 kind of fudging then. So my first one is the one that I actually probably played the first. Like my first deck builder was Star Realms, and I really love Star Realms and Hero Realms. It is Wise Wizard Games, designed by Robert Daughtry and Darwin Castell. But yeah, so I love it's a 2-player deck builder, really quick, Star Realms. I mean, it's one that me and my friend, we know how to play, so we can just really quickly pop it out. It's just a little deck of cards, but now there's so many expansions that you can mix and match. There's digital ones that I love having on my phone. It's pass and play. So this one's really easy. You're just trying to knock the other person out as fast as possible, but there is bases that could help you.
It's a 2-player two-player only game,
two-player.
right? Yeah.
Well, for Star Realms, yes. Hero Realms, you can play up to 4.
Co-op?
And you can have co-op, or you can have competitive.
Yeah. And Hero Realms is like, it's a later iteration of it, but it's very much like Star Realms in Fantasyland.
Yeah. Or like Mystic Vale and Mystic Lands. It's a, like once you play one, you can.
It'll help.
Learn that.
I think those two are even more similar, though.
Yeah, they are. They're more similar.
Similar.
There's less differences in those two. I think there's just because of the characters that you have. That's the biggest difference. Like
right. That's right. In Hero Realms, you start with like a hero that's very unique.
Yeah.
I love that addition. That was a really good idea.
Yeah. And of course,
that sort of inspired some of the doing something very similar in Unstoppable.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. And of course, Mandy Hutchinson was on the box. Oh. Star Realms is just such an easy 2-player.
And that, I mean, I don't know the design story of that game, but it was I suspect, I could be wrong, that it was very much inspired an iteration of like Ascension, right? It has a lot of Ascension feels to it, but it's like if you took Ascension and you're like, how do we make Ascension as much like a Magic the Gathering game as possible? And it was very well done. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good iteration on it,
Yeah, so that's Star Realms / Hero Realms from Thunderworks. Oh, wait, sorry. From Wise Wizard Games. Because they changed their name, so I'm like, it's not that. Yeah, it's Wise Wizard Games.
So that's a good lead into my next one, because this one I suspect also is an inspiration and an iteration on that. My favorite in the genre of deck building fighting games is Shards of Infinity.
It's on my list.
Which is it's Justin Gary and Gary Arant. Arant. Sorry if I pronouncing your name wrong. And Justin designed Ascension, which again I suspect was a big piece of the inspiration for Star Realms. I don't know that though. And then I suspect that Star Realms was an inspiration for Shards of Infinity. Again, maybe that's not the path, but from an outsider perspective, it feels like it. And then Shards of Infinity was very much an inspiration and informed my Mistborn game. But man, Shards of Infinity, it's so good.
Yes.
And I'll just talk about one thing about it that I think is that I love, and that's the mastery system. Sorry, I'm going to talk about two. I'm going to cheat and talk about 2 parts of it because I think 2 parts are great. The mastery system is so good. It's like card crafting without card crafting, right? It's like your card comes with 2 abilities, but you don't get one until you level up this thing, and then the card levels up.
Yeah,
I love it. It's so well done.
Yeah.
And then the other really great innovation that it did. Which then the Star Wars deck building iterated on again, right? In a really good way. But the mercenary system in Shards of Infinity. So a lot of cards are just normal. You buy it, it goes in your deck.
Yeah.
Some of them are mercenary cards, like half of them, I want to say. And when you buy it, you can put it in your deck like normal, or you can immediately eliminate it from the game, but do its power this turn.
Yeah.
And it got a long way of the way to solving the stale market problem.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right. So what happens in a lot of these deck builders is like, I don't want to add any more cards to my deck, but I have all this money.
Yeah.
And like none of these cards will make my deck better.
Yes.
Every individual one of them is an ability I would like to do. But I don't want that card in my deck so that I draw that instead of the nice deck I've already built.
Yeah.
And you end up with this sort of stale market, right? But that was like, well, half of these cards you can just buy and chuck right away.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to do something similar, though I feel like I iterated on it more in Mistborn, where players will reach a ability like a timeline ability level where ability will turn on about mid-game. That 1 card per turn they can buy and chuck and do it right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, well, what should just apply to every card, but at least once a turn, so the market's always moving, always something to do with your money. But that mercenary idea was like, oh, that's such an elegant solution to the stale market problem.
Yeah. So that was your number 2. I'm going to just say that was also my number 2 because it was definitely on my list. It's definitely one I absolutely love. I know there's a card that people say is OP, but it's really hard to do. But it's an instant win card. Like if you get to a certain
It's the shard. I mean, the game is called Shards of Infinity, and in your deck there is a infinity shard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And if you get to a certain level,
of
right,
mastery,
of mastery,
it does
then
infinite damage.
Yeah, you just automatically.
It's a you win card.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny, which some people love and some people
love it.
Yeah. Do you get to win with it? I mean,
oh man, I was at Shoes place.
Yeah.
And I was
from going
literally
analog.
going to do it on my turn. And then they were all like, he's going to do it. And they all, 3 people in a row were like, kill, kill, kill. Which is my least favorite part about that game, is the attack the person who's winning. So I did that different in Mistborn also.
Okay.
I used a targeting system that inspired from King of Tokyo to be like...
Interesting.
Yeah, you can only attack the person with the target. But whenever they're attacked, they can give it to somebody else. And if you have the target on your turn, like a turn's got around and you got attacked, but you're like, I'm holding on to it, on your turn, your damage hits everybody.
Oh, that's really cool.
I love that. Like when I was like, how do you solve this problem? And I was like, oh, right, King of Tokyo already solved that problem.
Yeah.
Right? And we do it similar, not quite exactly the same. But yes, I love you win cards in games. I think they're fun.
And Shu is from Going Analog, another local influencer in the LA area. So give us your number 3.
Oh, my number 3.
Yeah. We both agree Shards of Infinity from Ultra Pro is a very good game.
I don't know if it's from Ultra Pro anymore. It used to be.
Oh.
It might still be. But I think Justin's company, Stoneblade Entertainment, got the rights back. So I think they're the publisher now.
So Shards of Infinity from Stoneblade Entertainment.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I will talk about an obvious one, Dominion. So Dominion was... I think appropriately gets credit for being the first deck builder. There will be people out there who will say that StarCraft from Fantasy Flight was actually the first deck building game.
Interesting.
Because you do deck build in that game, but it's not a deck building game.
Okay.
It's very much like an area control game with this with this element of deck building you do. Dominion is the first deck building game that said we should, and I have no idea if Donald Vaccarino had ever even played it. I suspect he just came up with it on his own. The idea of like you have a deck, and as you play the game, your deck gets better iteratively. And it was, I think, so I wrote in my, I did a design diary for Unstoppable, and I had a whole little like sidebar conversation about this because I think it's interesting. Because people have asked me, like, hey, card crafting, like, that's a cool thing that you would see in more games. And then it's like, why haven't we seen that in more games? And I think we actually are starting to see elements or full-on card crafting in more games, but nothing like Dominion. Like, Dominion came out, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of deck-building games that followed it immediately. And I think it's because that system it's like a cheat code for game design.
Yeah.
If you're making a deck building game and you do it in the vein of Dominion or Ascension, right, which is like you start with 10 cards, you draw 5, you play them, they give you money, you buy another card. When your deck cycles, you flip it. Like if that's your starting point, your game is already good.
Yeah.
Right? Like Donald Vaccarino designed a system to make everyone who wants to make a game using that system to already have a good game.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, does your game differentiate itself? Is it better than good, et cetera, right? But it's like a cheat code. If you start with that, you already have a good game, right? And so, and it's just so, because it's just so simple and fun and great, right? So tons of props to Dominion for being so original.
Yeah.
But then it's also like really good.
Yeah.
It didn't just do something new. It did something new, but also in a really excellent way. Right. And with expansions just has kept it up, right?
Yeah.
I'm nowhere tired of playing Dominion. It's great. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy it. It's not the first one I would go to. Like, I would rather play Mystic Vale, but it's also one of those games where, there's a point where you need to start what I call greening, or what people call greening, which is just go to the point cards. You're not deck building anymore. You're just going for the point cards in order to end the game fast and then have the most points, which is really interesting. And like the thing I don't like is the art. Like the Dominion art is kind of meh.
Certainly first edition was lacking, I would say. Yeah.
But I love like each of the expansions has a different feel to it. So like if you want something more kind of combative, you can get a certain deck.
You can put attack cards in, or you can not. You know.
Right, exactly. So it kind of makes it where you can customize it to how you like to play the game, which is very nice. And they have a good web browser-based, digital
an exceptionally good digital
version. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know who publishes it now?
I think it's still Rio Grande.
Rio Grande? Okay, yeah, Rio Grande. So Dominion from Rio Grande. My next one, I might as well just say it. It's Mystic Vale. I mean, for me in my brain, Mystic Vale and Shards of Infinity.
But wait, is it Mystic Vale or is it Mystic Lands?
Oh, see, that's hard. Because I play tested it, and then I just today played
the final.
Yeah, the final.
The prototype final.
Yeah,
it's still not,
exactly.
It's still got semi-blurry cards, shrunken. The text is too small.
Yeah, some of the icons are too
Way
small.
too small.
Yeah. And then I forgot some of the rules because it's like
it's been a year since you played it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think with multiple plays, I will like Mystic Lands better. And I know that
there's also Mystic Vale has a ton of content.
Yeah.
Which Mystic Lands does not yet have.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for this one, I'll have to say Mystic Vale because Mystic Lands is not out yet. Yep. And it's definitely, I got into at the same time as Shards of Infinity. And it's been one of those, I swap between the two, and those two are always connected in my mind.
That's funny.
So, yeah. So sometimes I'll say one versus the other, even though they're totally different.
They're
games.
very different. They're in. I think they're both correctly put into the deck builder category, but they're not very similar.
No, they're not similar. Yeah, but in my mind, I'll switch them because and that is Mystic Lands from AG, designed by Mr. John D. Clair.
Mystic Vale. You said Mystic Lands.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me do
Mystic Lands is the evolution of that one.
There you go.
Which I prefer.
Yeah.
I think I would have designed. It would have been a failure in design if I'd iterated on one of my designs only to make a game that I liked less.
Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah. So that's Mystic Vale from AG, designed by Mr. John D. Clair. Yeah.
Indeed.
Now you don't go by John D. Clair. You go by John Clair. But in all your games, it's John D. for your middle name, Clair.
Yeah, I mean, so the first game to have my name on the cover was Mystic Vale.
Okay, yeah.
And AG's like, how do you want your name on here? And I was like, well, I guess we put the middle initial, right? That's what authors do.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin, etc. So put the initial, and here we are. Yeah.
Can you tell us?
I don't introduce myself to people as John D. Clair, though.
I know.
Actually, in the board game world, I've kind of started doing that because that's how people know me. Right? But, as a normal... In a normal context, no.
Yeah. Can you tell us what D stands for?
Daniel.
John Daniel Clair.
And I'm actually the fourth.
Oh.
I'm John Daniel Clair the fourth.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact about John Clair. Yeah. Okay, so that was our number 3. What's your number 4?
All right, what do I want to pull off the list? I'm going to guess we have an overlap on this one. And I'm going to say Dune Imperium. No? You're not Dune?
Well, I like Dune. Or Dune Imperium, but it's not on my list.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So this is the first on my... Well, that's not true. Hexarchy has a board. Dune Imperium has a board, and it is... So it's not a pure deck builder. It has a deck builder that drives a board game. It does the worker placement board game way thing in a... It's just it all fits so cohesively together. It's one of my favorite high interaction games.
Yeah.
It combos that sort of you're doing your own thing in a way that's really satisfying while you really care about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
In a way that's excellent. You can't really build an epic engine, but you can build it in a way that really matters. Right. Excellent game. Absolutely excellent game.
I agree. I think it's the multi-use cards that always gets me because I want to keep all the cards.
You're like, I want that power and that power.
Yeah. And I don't know which one to use out of the cards. So multi-use cards always kind of break my brain a little bit. But that is Dune Imperium.
Dune Imperium. I almost won the World Series of Board Games Dune Imperium Championship, and I fumbled it in the championship.
Oh, no. This year?
Last year.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 4 is going to be Clink, or Clink in Space, or Clink Catacombs.
Same designer.
The designer is Paul Dennen from Dire Wolf Games. I mean, I love all of them. my first love was Clank in Space. I like base Clank was good, but I really liked Clank in Space with the modular board.
Yeah.
And then I started playing more of the different boards from Clank, the expansions, and those are really, really good because it kind of changes things. And it's such a good system. It's such a good game. It's kind of thematic. Clank Catacombs now takes that modular board and really changes it up because you are actually exploring the catacombs, and when you go off the board, you're taking a tile and choosing where it goes. And the crazy thing is,
I think Catacombs is the one to get.
Yeah.
If you're not into Clank yet, I think Catacombs is the one to get.
Yeah, I mean, although sometimes people really hate it when you get the cards that make you rotate everybody around because you're rotating the little, boards that you're on. And so now you're not facing the right way, to get what you need. And it's just so irritating. But at the same time, it's really fun. But yeah, it is one of those really great games, great systems, lots of good expansions that really does upgrade or change the game for how you want to do it. And then, of course, they have the legacy Clank acquisitions, I do believe, which I have one that's in...
I've heard it's great. I've not played it.
I haven't finished one. I started 2 during the pandemic, and then, the world shut down, and now, But yeah, it's gonna... I hope to get it back to the table somewhat.
Clank is great.
Yeah, Clank is a great one. That is Clank.
Again, my list is not my favorite of all time. It's the ones that came to mind. And
but
Clank is Clank. I mean, I'd have to do a full assessment, but Clank would certainly be in consideration.
Yeah. So that is Clank from Direwolf Digital. And your last one?
So this is my cheat. I got 2 because one's a bag builder. Very briefly on the bag builder, War Chests. My favorite 2-player game of all time, if you don't count Magic the Gathering. Magic's in its own category because it's like a CCG, right? And Magic would be my favorite 2-player game ever. But War Chest, favorite 2-player board game of all time. Absolutely fantastically elegant, nice design. The designers did an amazing job. Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson, excellent game design, and then props to Mark Wooten at AEG, who loves that game and has done a lot of great development on it. Okay, then the actual card game deck builder that I've got, the last one on my list, is Eminent Domain by Seth Jaffe.
Okay.
I mentioned that one because I just think it's an interestingly different deck builder. It does deck building in a very different way than everything else we've talked about. You don't buy your cards. You pick a action to do on your turn, and you gain a card of that action type.
Yeah.
So, like if you want to settle a planet, if you want to colonize a planet in the game, it's a space opera type of game. If you want to colonize a planet, you take a colonize card, play all other colonize cards you have from your hand, and that tells you your power of your colonize action. And everyone else at the table can then follow you and also do it, or they can pass. There's a specific word for it. Pass and just draw a card, which improves their chances later. And then because you've colonized, I think Seth Jaffe called it deck learning. Was the term he used. It your deck evolves by the action choices you make, not by the buying choices you make. So what you want to do on your turn is the thing that you become better at doing. But you're not going to win the game if you're good at one thing. So you have to be careful that your deck doesn't over specialize itself. Anyway.
Awesome.
That game's pretty cool. I like that game a lot.
Okay, good. So I'm going to do something similar. My last game will be Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is like Dune Imperium, right?
Well, it's not that much like it, but in the sense that it's a deck builder that drives a board game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And deck building is not the main thing. It is you'll have a little bit. But I really love Lost Ruins of Arnak. I got to play test the new expansion that already came out, the new board, and it's really fun. Elwyn and Min did such a great job. They're really nice people too. And this is Lost Ruins of Arnak from CGE. So it is you're basically a tiny bit of deck building to help you get better actions. Worker placement mainly. You're going to go out, explore for more worker placement spots, fight monsters, go up the temple track to get most points. And yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a very interesting mix of mechanisms.
It's a very nice design. Yeah. It's a little light on the deck building for me.
Yes,
the first time I played it, I was like, I'm going to do the deck building strategy, and it didn't work. The deck building is very much supplemental to what you're doing. Like it matter, your choices there matter, but there isn't, as far as I'm aware from my experience and what other people have said, there isn't I'm just going to be really good at deck building path to victory in the game. Yeah. Which for me was like, I wanted that to be there, but it is a very nicely made game.
Yeah, so that's why it's supplemented though, because I have a bag builder as well. So Lost Winds of Arnax from CGE is my number 5, but supplemented by Orleans, which is an awesome bag builder. Very much feels like a deck builder, and you can actually, you're pulling out workers to put on different spots on your board to actually do actions. So kind of worker placement a little bit, and then you're trying to go down different level, or I say go down the map to explore different things to get different things to go, and then turn it in for this or that and get points and stuff. And there is now expansions that make it more confrontational, or a little bit nicer and stuff. So and I'm glad that it was Capstone Games picked it up because it was a TMG.
Was it TMG? I don't think it was TMG.
Yeah, it was.
Really? Originally?
Yeah, originally it was TMG. So we're going to go, but that was, I
played it once, way back when it came out, and I remember liking it, but it was a long time ago.
I really need to get the expansions.
It's like a classic at this point.
I know, and I'm so glad Capstone, picked it up. But thank you, John.
Thanks for coming over.
Yes, this has been so much fun, feeding us with pizza and letting us play test all your games. How can people find you?
I'm unfindable. If you're not in LA, tough luck. No, I actually have nixed social media out of my life. So it's I don't post. I don't make stuff. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll occasionally see me post something. That's my answer. I'm mostly unfindable now.
Do you answer questions on BGG?
I do subscribe to all of my own games, and when I see a question pop up and I have the time to answer it, and it doesn't look like the type of question that someone else could easily answer, I will jump on. I'm usually most active on there right after a game comes out and there's a lot of questions. Yeah. I'll try to be really active for like a month after the game comes out and on top of it, and then there's only so much I can actually try to keep up with. So I try to pay attention there.
Yeah, and I've had him on my Twitch stream, and that was really fun. And then you might see him walking around at a convention or
the guy with I probably won't be the only one, but when I'm not incognito, my work hat is a Dodger hat.
So look for the Dodgers.
That's right. Go Dodgers.
You've been listening to the Board Game Geek podcast, produced and edited by Amanda Wong. Be sure to visit us on the web at BoardGameGeek.com. You can also find us on YouTube, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under Board Game Geek. At Twitch, we are under Board Game Geek TV. And you can reach us by email via podcast@BoardGameGeek.com. Thanks for listening and happy gaming.